बंधु के रूप में सम्मान दे रही है। मैं नरेंद्र दामोदर दास मोदी।
When he took oath as Prime Minister for the first time in 2014, one got a strong idea of what his foreign policy would be like. There would be a strong global outreach to elevate India's stature and status in the eyes of the rest of the world. What did he do? He invited the heads of state and heads of government of the SAARC nations. This included Nawaz Sharif, who was then the Prime Minister of Pakistan. Crucially, the message the Prime Minister was driving at was that India sought a deepening of ties with its neighbours. And what was the first country he decided to visit as Prime Minister? It was Bhutan in June 2014. And he followed that up with a visit to Nepal, another neighbour, in August that year. This was the first bilateral visit by an Indian Prime Minister to Nepal in 17 years. India was prioritizing its immediate neighborhood under Prime Minister Modi. But a distinguishing feature of Prime Minister Modi's approach to foreign policy was also evident during his visit to the United States in September 2014. Note that in the months prior, relations between India and Pakistan had deteriorated over Pakistan seeking to involve separatists in talks between the two countries. India had rejected this attempt completely. When Prime Minister Modi addressed the United Nations General Assembly in 2014 in New York, he spoke like a true statesman and extended an olive branch and spoke the language of cooperation.
भारत अपनी प्रगति के लिए एक शांतिपूर्ण और स्थिर अंतर्राष्ट्रीय वातावरण की अपेक्षा करता है। हमारा भविष्य हमारे पड़ोस से जुड़ा हुआ है। इसी कारण मेरी सरकार ने पहले ही दिन से पड़ोसी देशों से मित्रता और सहयोग बढ़ाने पर पूरी प्राथमिकता दी है और पाकिस्तान के प्रति भी मेरी यही नीति है। मैं पाकिस्तान से मित्रता और सहयोग बढ़ाने के लिए पूरी गंभीरता से शांतिपूर्ण वातावरण में बिना आतंक के साये के साथ द्विपक्षीय वार्ता करना चाहता हूं, लेकिन पाकिस्तान का भी यह दायित्व है कि उपयुक्त वातावरण बनाए और गंभीरता से द्विपक्षीय बातचीत के लिए सामने आए और इस मंच पर बात उठाने से समाधान के प्रयास कितने सफल होंगे, इस पर कईयों को शक है। आज हमें बाढ़ से पीड़ित कश्मीर के लोगों को सहायता देने पर ध्यान देना चाहिए, जो हमने भारत में बड़े पैमाने पर आयोजित किया है और इसके लिए सिर्फ भारत में कश्मीर उसी का ख्याल रखने पर हम रुके नहीं हैं। हमने पाकिस्तान को भी कहा, क्योंकि उस क्षेत्र में भी बाढ़ का असर था। हमने उनको भी कहा कि हम जिस प्रकार से कश्मीर में बाढ़ पीड़ितों की सेवा कर रहे हैं, हम पाकिस्तान में भी उन बाढ़ पीड़ितों की सेवा करने के लिए हमने सामने से प्रस्ताव रखा था। हम विकासशील विश्व का हिस्सा है, लेकिन हम अपने सीमित संसाधनों को उन सभी के साथ साझा करने के इच्छुक हैं जिन्हें इनकी नितांत आवश्यकता है।
And crucially, he emphasized the importance of multilateralism and a change in the global status quo. The import of all of this was a conviction that India had a larger role to play in international affairs.
आज हम इंटरडिपेंडेंट वर्ल्ड कहते हैं तो क्या हमारी आपसी एकता बढ़ी है? हमने सोचने की जरूरत है। क्या कारण है कि यूएन जैसा इतना अच्छा प्लेटफॉर्म हमारे पास होने के बाद भी अनेक जी समूह बनाते गए हम। आज हम कई जी की बातें करते हैं जिसके नंबर बदलते रहते हैं। कभी G4 होगा, कभी G7 होगा, कभी G20 होगा, हम बदलते रहते हैं। और चाहे या न चाहे हम भी उन समूहों में जुड़े हैं, भारत भी जुड़ा हुआ है। लेकिन क्या आवश्यकता नहीं है कि हम G1 से आगे बढ़कर के जी ऑल की तरफ कदम उठाएं? और जब यूएन अपने 70 वर्ष मनाने जा रहा है तब ये जी ऑल का एटमॉस्फेयर कैसे बने? फिर एक बार यही मंच हमारी समस्याओं के समाधान का अवसर कैसे बन सके, इसकी विश्वसनीयता कैसे बढ़े, इसका सामर्थ्य कैसे बढ़े, तभी जाकर के हम यहां संयुक्त बात करते हैं लेकिन टुकड़ों में बिखर जाते हैं, उससे हम बच सकते हैं। एक तरफ तो हम यह कहते हैं कि हमारी नीतियां परस्पर जुड़ी हुई है और दूसरी तरफ हम जीरो सम गेम के नजरिए से सोचते हैं। अगर उसे लाभ होता है तो मेरी हानि होती है। कौन किसके लाभ में है, कौन किसकी हानि में है, यही मानदंड के आधार पर हम आगे बढ़ते हैं। निराशावादी या आलोचनावादी की तरह कुछ भी नहीं बदलने वाला। एक बहुत बड़ा वर्ग है जिसके मन में ये छोड़ो यार, अब कुछ होने वाला नहीं है, हो चुका, अब कुछ होने वाला नहीं। ये जो निराशावादी और आलोचनावादी माहौल है, ये कहना आसान है, परंतु अगर हम ऐसा करते हैं तो हम अपनी जिम्मेदारियों से भागने का जोखिम उठा रहे हैं। वो अपने सामूहिक भविष्य को हम खतरे में डाल रहे हैं। आइए हम अपने समय की मांग के अनुरूप अपने आप को ढालें। हम वास्तविक शांति के लिए कार्य करें। कोई भी एक देश या कुछ देशों का एक समूह इस विश्व की धारा को तय नहीं कर सकता। वास्तविक अंतर्राष्ट्रीय भागीदारी का होना ये समय की मांग है, ये अनिवार्य है। हमें देशों के बीच सार्थक संवाद एवं सहयोग सुनिश्चित करना है।
And during that very visit, Narendra Modi tapped into a very important Indian asset, the Indian diaspora. When tens of thousands of them turned up at Madison Square Garden, Prime Minister Modi launched what would be a regular feature of his foreign visits. The success of India's diaspora across the world is very much part of country's soft power, and Modi went beyond what any other previous Prime Minister of India had done. Reaching out to India's diaspora, who in their own way had done the nation proud.
मैं बहुत भाग्यशाली हूं कि मेरे देशवासी जिन्होंने हजारों मील दूर यहां रह करके भारत की इज्जत को बढ़ाया है, भारत की आन बान शान को बढ़ाया है। अगर आप न होते, हमारे देश की युवा पीढ़ी न होती, इंफॉर्मेशन टेक्नोलॉजी के क्षेत्र में आप लोगों ने जो कमाल करके दिखाई है, वो न होता तो आज भी दुनिया शायद हमें 7 सपेरों वालों का ही देश मानती है।
The next year, India hosted the third India-Africa Forum Summit. 41 heads of state and government, among other leaders, were present. 54 countries were represented. Prime Minister Modi talked about shared history, ancient ties, as well as a history of resisting colonialism. And he spoke about the opportunities that India has to offer to the rest of the world, including Africa.
India is honored to be a development partner of Africa. It is a partnership beyond strategic concern and economic benefits. It is from the emotional bonds we share and the solidarity we feel for each other. In less than a decade, our trade has more than doubled to over $70 billion. India is now a major source of business investments in Africa. Today, 34 African countries enjoy duty-free access to the Indian market. African energy helps run the engine of the Indian economy. It is the resources are powering our industries, and African prosperity offers growing market for Indian products. India has committed $7.4 billion in concessional credits and $1.2 billion in grant since the first India-Africa Summit in 2008. It is creating 100 capacity building institutions and developing infrastructure, public transport, clean energy, irrigation, agriculture, and manufacturing capacity across Africa.
Prime Minister Modi's foreign policy has had many firsts. In 2015, when he visited the UAE, he became the first Indian Prime Minister to do so in 30 years. When he visited Saudi Arabia in 2025, he became the first Indian Prime Minister to visit Jeddah in 4 decades. When he visited Ireland in 2015, he was the first Indian Prime Minister to do so in 60 years. When he went to Kuwait in 2024, he was the first Indian Prime Minister to do so in 43 years. So there's been not just a revival of engagement with partner countries, but something else too. Prime Minister Modi's outreach has also stood out for the personal camaraderie between him and his international counterparts. The Modi embrace has become a trademark feature now of his interactions. But India, under Prime Minister Modi, has been a Vishwabandhu, in the truest sense of the word. A friend of the world, and nothing exemplified this more than India's efforts during the COVID-19 pandemic. India delivered more than 300 million doses of COVID-19 vaccines to 101 countries as part of the Vaccine Maitri initiative. And this was met with warm gratitude from several countries that benefited from this, whether it was Guyana or Suriname or any of those 101 nations.
We owe you a debt of gratitude. When the world locked its borders and globalization failed, you showed the world that globalization can still succeed and there is still love. When the world could not find vaccine and you faced the challenge of the COVID-19 pandemic, you showed the world what real love and hope is. Vaccine with the rest of the world. I stand here very proud of your work, very proud of your love, and very proud of your demonstration of what real love and hope should look like.
The bigger picture emerging from all of this was the fact that the developing countries around the world were seeing India as a voice for the global south. Perhaps more so than China, which has sought to assume that mantle as well.
We need a big third voice to be active for the small island nations at G20, at G7. We appreciate your presence with us at FIBIC. You are the voice that can offer our issues at the highest as advanced economies discuss on matters relating to economy, commerce, trade, and geopolitics. For us, we want this moment of the FIBIC platform for India to be the strong voice and advocate of the challenges we go through. We are victims of global power play. We want you to be an advocate for us as you sit in those meetings and continue to fight for the rights of small emerging nations and emerging economies, given support by you, the leader of the global south. And I put to you as the leader of the third realm, the third group, the third block of nations that must emerge. Those are the emerging nations, and we will rally behind your leadership at global forums.
The G20 summit in New Delhi in 2023 further reinforced the position India occupied on the global diplomatic table, and it was a massive achievement. There was the challenge of the Russian and Chinese presidents not being part of the summit, but India's tough negotiations ensured that there was unanimity and consensus reached on the G20 declaration. Prime Minister Modi announced it during the summit.
एक खुशखबरी मिली है हमारी टीम्स के हार्डवर्क से और आप सभी के सहयोग से नई दिल्ली G20 लीडर्स समिट डिक्लेरेशन पर सहमति बनी है कि इस लीडर्स डिक्लेरेशन को भी एडॉप्ट किया जाए। मैं इस डिक्लेरेशन को एडॉप्ट करने की घोषणा करता हूं। इस अवसर पर मैं हमारे मंत्रीगण, शेरपा और सभी अधिकारियों का हृदय से अभिनंदन करता हूं, जिन्होंने अथाक परिश्रम करके इसे सार्थक किया है।
But another development captured what has been a hallmark of India's diplomatic prowess under Prime Minister Modi. The African Union was inducted as part of the G20, and this was largely an India-driven initiative.
सबका साथ की भावना से ही भारत ने प्रस्ताव रखा था कि अफ्रीकन यूनियन को G20 की स्थायी सदस्यता दी जाए। मेरा विश्वास है कि इस प्रस्ताव पर हम सबकी सहमति है। आप सबकी सहमति से मैं अफ्रीकन यूनियन के अध्यक्ष को G20 के स्थायी सदस्य के रूप में अपना स्थान ग्रहण करने के लिए आमंत्रित करता हूं।
Prime Minister Modi has had elaborate discussions with both Volodymyr Zelensky of Ukraine and Vladimir Putin of Russia. India may continue buying oil from Russia to look out for its own energy security, but it's also contributed hugely to Ukraine in terms of humanitarian aid. Even now, when the Trump administration has imposed 50% tariffs on India, the Prime Minister has sought to protect India's interests. He has said the interests of farmers and fishermen in India will not be compromised. While India's foreign policy has been one defined by outreach, it's not as if it won't retaliate when provoked. The surgical strike after the Uri terror attack in 2016. The Balakot airstrikes after the Pulwama terror attack in 2019 and Operation Sindoor after the Pahalgam terror attack in 2025 are all examples of India standing up to defend itself against Pakistan-backed terrorism. Even with respect to China, the armed forces of India were staring the Chinese eyeball to eyeball during the Doklam crisis in 2017 and stood their ground during clashes between the troops that claimed many lives in Galwan in 2020. Going forward, the world appears to be a more challenging place than it perhaps was in 2014. India's neighborhood remains troubled, with India standing out as a beacon of stability. Pakistan continues to be unstable and untrustworthy. Nepal is in the midst of a serious political crisis. Myanmar is run by the military. Bangladesh is under an interim government and dispensation that is not favorable towards India. And Afghanistan is back in the hands of the Taliban. Add to this an American presidency under Donald Trump, thousands of miles away, whose actions are perhaps prompting a realignment in terms of foreign policy priorities. How India and Prime Minister Modi navigate this testing time will also be critical in shaping the future.
आज के भारत की नीति है सारे देशों से समान रूप से नजदीकी बनाओ। आज का भारत सबसे जुड़ना चाहता है। आज का भारत सबके विकास की बात करता है। आज का भारत सबके साथ है, सबके हित की सोचता है। हमें गर्व है कि आज दुनिया भारत को विश्व बंधु के रूप में सम्मान दे रही है।